Hey guys, Chris here. You joined me here for a little bit of a different video because today we have with us CEO of the charging app called Elton, Jörgen.
Hi.
Welcome to, well, the channel and the video.
Thank you.
So we're gonna do a little bit of, run and gun today. We're in Jörgen's Tesla Model Y. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the Elton app because the Elton app is actually quite unique when it comes to charging apps, and we're going to talk about why it's unique. We're going to talk about the functions. We're going to show you a little bit of the functions and talk a little bit about the history, how all of this came about. So without without further ado, this video is of course also sponsored by Elton. So first off, we can start with what is the Elton app, Jörgen? You want to explain to the viewers?
The big question.
Yeah, the big question.
Yeah, well, essentially, I was and at the core, Elton is a charging app. As a user, you set up one profile, and then our goal is for you to be able to charge across all the charging networks in one seamless experience. And I think the last bit is rather important because all the CPOs have different ways to start the charger. So it's not about the payment, to do the payment in one place, which of course is good, but it's also to have the same way of doing it every single time. And in the end, to just make it easier. But that's the core. And then we also sort of recognize that to have and drive an electric vehicle, that raises some questions that you're not used to. You've seen your parents fill petrol in their car your whole life, but you haven't seen them drive an EV.
No, that's true. That's actually very true.
Yeah, so there's questions, there's stuff you need help with. So from the top, I would say that Elton, we wish to be a tool for you. A tool that will help you to make it easier to drive and own an EV, and that's why we have the charging map with all kinds of information. We have a route planner. We do wait time prediction. I tend to say that Elton is like 15 apps in one.
Yeah, sure.
Because we aim to have all this functionality around to just make it easier.
Yeah. So where did the idea for this app come from? Because I think that's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is actually in a rather weird place because me and most of the team that's Elton now, we used to work for VG, the largest newspaper in Norway, for an innovation hub there. And we had started to just think about the idea that driving an EV, finding chargers, looking at prices, all that kind of stuff, that seemed way too hard. We saw no reason that it needed to be that way. We just got this idea that we can solve this. Let's not talk about the problem. Let's actually go ahead and build the solution. And then around that same time, a new developer started at the department, and we just started talking in the middle of Corona on a bench in Oslo, because we weren't allowed to meet at the office. And he also thought that idea was cool. So he just started building the first version of the app, and a month later we could release it. And
that's insane.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So, I mean, the largest newspaper in Norway has an innovation hub, so none of you were working with any charge point operators.
No.
None of you were working in the electric supply business.
No, we were sort of, what we say is that we were good at building things for the consumers.
Cool.
Digital services, apps, websites meant for the consumer to solve a consumer need. And what we thought was that's needed in the EV industry as well.
Absolutely.
So we had that consumer approach into it, not the industry approach.
That's very interesting.
And then we basically just went ahead and started to build the first pilot with an idea to just launch it and see what happens. Will people like it? And at that point, it was basically a charging map and a route planner, really simple. We learned a lot in the first week, especially since we're in Norway. Norway is a rather crazy country when it comes to roads. A bunch of them are closed during the winter. The first algorithm for the route planner that didn't understand this. We have this things in the road somewhere in Norway, which is meant to stop sheep from crossing.
These rails.
Rollers, so sheep can't cross that. but the route planner thought that meant a closed road,
Oh,
for
no.
example. So a big part of Norway was not possible to plan for because of that.
That's interesting.
So it was a lot of weird small issues like that. And then we solved them rather quickly.
Yeah.
And the traffic in the app more or less skyrocketed.
Wow.
It took us by surprise. We sort of expected to start testing and experimenting and do way much things wrong than we actually wound up doing.
Okay.
And then I would say like a month after that, we basically saw that right now we're solving a lot of issues for the users up until the point they're at the charging station. We're helping them to the station.
Yeah, okay.
But then they are as lost as before.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily lost, but we didn't help them anymore. We
No,
didn't add any extra value when they arrived.
Okay.
And that's when we again just had this idea, like, okay, let's start working with the payment bit of this, the remote starting of chargers.
Yeah, okay.
So we hired another developer, started building this whole infrastructure, and everything in Elton is built in-house.
Wow.
By our own developers. There's no white labeling and stuff like that.
Okay.
She built the whole backend infrastructure for remote control of chargers for us to be able to fire them up, and the payment bit of it.
Wow.
And then we launched that and sort of have iterated on it every single week, I would say.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's insane. Like, just evolving the app as you go along, and then hitting, as you said, at first, just bringing people to help them find chargers, waypoints, and route planning, and then once you get to the chargers, like, okay, what do we do now?
Yeah, that's basically it. and that, in the end, that's sort of the whole goal with this company. It's not just payment, because we don't believe in just payment.
No.
We believe that we need to help and assist EV users with whatever need they have.
Yeah.
From they sit on their couch planning a trip until they arrive at their destinations, and everything in between there, we want to help.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're now at some recharge chargers here in Filipstadkaia by Aker Brygge in Oslo, and Jørgen is going to show us how the app actually works, because, you know, we've been talking about the app, but I think the best way is just to show how it works actually.
Yeah, and there's no big magic to it, but that's sort of the magic of it. We hope.
It's supposed to be as easy as possible, right?
Yeah, and I would say, as always, I would recommend for you to plug in the car. The Libra cord.
So plug it in first.
Yeah.
Hook it off the charger, connect it.
Yeah, because then we have some other features that will work in the background of the app. And then you will see I'm here selecting Recharge Filipstad. It's the closest one. It pops right up. I know it's the D connector in this case, and fire it up, and it's good to go.
I mean, it's super simple. I mean, it's like, that looked like nothing at all, but that's the whole point, right? It's supposed to be
as easy as we can do it.
As easy. And the thing is, so you have the speed of the charger on the charger and the state of charge, but I don't know, if you're gonna go to a cafe, you wanna go shopping, well, then you have everything in the app.
Yeah.
And that is super, super easy. Can you also stop the app, the charger from the app? Yeah.
You can do control all you need. You can see how many kilowatts you've gotten if you've connected your car to Elton. So my Tesla is sending information to the app as well. And
so you tether the Elton app to your car.
Yeah.
So it gets information from the Tesla app.
Yeah.
That is pretty awesome. I think that's quite unique with this app also.
And again, for our side, that's just another way to like fill in information to make it easier. So this is about charging, and when we talk about charging, it's not really about the driver, it's about the car. So when we get information from the car, we can supply that into the experience, and we can add stuff for the user to make one integrated experience in the end.
We're now at a different charging location. These are the Ragde chargers here in Torvald Meyers gate, in basically the middle of Oslo. And talk a little bit about how you pay with this Elton charging app.
Yeah, the basic idea is that you sign up for one profile, you put in your payment card, or you can pay by Vipps if you want to, into Elton, and then Elton will let you pay across the different CPOs, like Ragde Recharge that we visited earlier. So it's one profile, and then we will deal with the payment.
So from a user experience, it's just one interface.
Yeah.
It doesn't look any different if you're going to charge at this charger or at a recharge charger or Circle K or whatever the charge point operator is.
No, it's one way of doing it for everyone.
And that's so easy. I can speak for myself. Of course, I charge at a lot of fast chargers, and before I started working with you guys, and I had all these different types of apps. Usually, what would happen is that if I didn't use a charge point operator for a while, my phone would log out of the charging app.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, maybe I changed passwords or whatever, and then like every time it was a hassle. And that means I would just avoid some chargers because of that. But here it's no problem at all.
Yeah, and we just want to be agnostic towards the CPOs. Like the user can decide where they want to charge, and we will just enable that for them. And as you said, I think that's also a point to point out that when we built this app, we didn't want the user to need to fill out a big form when you sign up, because a sign up can be complicated. But in this case, you just type in your phone number, and then you're good to go, and that's it.
That's so easy, so easy. So you want to show us NFC payment also, because that's also an option here, right?
Yeah, because like you can say everything is the same. Like for every charger, you can just select it in the app and start it. But on some chargers, we have built other technologies to make it even easier. And this is one example where we have put up these NFC tags that we built. So the basic idea is that you just tap your phone on it, and then you get a push notification. You click that, and then you can plug in. And it will start by itself. So the one thing I had to do was tap the phone and press the push alert, and it's good to go.
That's so easy. So we talked about how the app works, why the app works, the idea behind the app, a little bit about the background. You want to talk a little bit about the future of Elton and where we can see all of this moving forward. Will things become even easier and simpler for the user? Is that the plan, maybe?
Yeah, of course. And
kind of a leading question, right?
Yeah, but I think like for the users, like when you need to charge, you have so many options. Like you can choose to pay with the CPO's app, by credit card somewhere, with us, other aggregator apps like Elton. And so that sort of puts the pressure on us, because it's completely voluntary for the user to choose to use Elton. And the only way we can make the user choose us is if we build the best product. And that's our whole idea. We want to build something so good that the users want to use us. Simple as that. So of course we have to continuously build new functionality to make it easier for the user. And in the industry, there's a lot of talk about plug and charge, and that's sort of the end game to build the Tesla experience for everyone. And of course, we're working on that, on the plug and charge technology. But I think an important point is that plug and charge is still some years ahead. Of course, some chargers has it already, but it's going to be a long time until you as a user can go to any kind of charger and know that everything supports plug and charge. There's going to be a couple of years here where you don't know if you plugged into a charger that's about to start by itself, or that you have to do something. So we are continuously working on building new features for this period in between. And I think we're going to launch something already before the summer, and then new stuff after the summer to make it even easier to take it, the steps towards that perfect experience, which is some kind of way of just plugging in and then things will work.
I just want to add to that, because you talk about plug and charge, and I think it's important for people who don't know that plug and charge isn't just a function, is actually a standard. So you have plug and charge, and then you have auto charge. Those are the two I'm familiar with. And one of the reasons it's not going to be fast is because we have two standards competing against each other, and these chargers have to support both. The app has to support both, and I think that's maybe the real issue here. And
Yeah, I think it's sort of a format war going on, like you had with Blu-ray and don't know the losing
HD DVD. I think it was called.
So there's different formats. They have different support. I would say, but in the end, both of them need that both the car and the charger supports this. So there's going to be an upgrade period where the stuff have to be compliant. But the way I see it is that yes, plug and charge is an ISO standard. Auto charge is a product, or what you want to call it. But in the end, this is about the experience for the user,
Yeah.
the experience of just plugging in and the thing is charging. And that's what we're trying to build. Like, we don't want to get too hung up in the naming and the standards.
Yeah.
We want to build that experience.
Yes, yes.
And that we're working on both towards those standards, but also to like just take the user approach to it. Can
Yeah.
we do it some other way? To, in the end, make it easier, which is the goal. It just needs to be easier.
So again, I want to give you a huge thanks for being in this video. I think this is very interesting. And if you found this interesting, if you think the Elton app is interesting and you want to, test it out, there will be a link in the description box down below. Just test it. If you like it, you like it. For me, at least, it's made my life a lot easier when charging and making all of these videos. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.